All right, today we are ranking John Mayer's covers. Now, that does not mean people who have covered John Mayer songs. That means songs that John Mayer has covered. And the way I'm going to work this, similar to some of my other ranking videos, which you can watch, I have a specific set of rules that I created. The rules are as follows. The song has to have been released under John Mayer, so not John Mayer Trio, and it needs to have been officially released, not just a song that he's covered in concert. And we're going for complete songs. There are some partial songs that have been officially released, but we're just going to do the complete songs. And these are my opinions, so please feel free to disagree and list your favorite John Mayer covers in the comments below. Coming in at number 10, we have Every Day I Have the Blues. This is from the Where the Light Is album. It's actually a blues standard. So the reason why I put this at number 10 is it's sort of predictable. For this period of time, it's just your typical standard blues. Now, that does not mean that there aren't amazing examples of his guitar playing on this song. There are. It's phenomenal. The vocal performance is actually really cool too. Steve Jordan and Pino Palladino holding it down in the rhythm section. Really great. For me, though, it's the most predictable, and it did the least for me. So let's go to the next one. Number 9, we've got Wait Until Tomorrow. Now, this is a Jimi Hendrix song. Personally, if I were going to be including the John Mayer Trio record, this song would be really close to the top. The John Mayer Trio version of this, also a live version, is absolutely insane. Please do yourself a favor and go listen to the John Mayer Trio version of Wait Until Tomorrow. The guitar solo, oh my God, you will know what I'm talking about when you hear it. Something happens, and it's like John Mayer transported to another dimension and just pulls off some amazing, amazing stuff. For me, after hearing that version and then hearing this version on Where the Light Is, it didn't do it for me. Again, had I only ever heard the Where the Light Is version of Wait Until Tomorrow, it's phenomenal. There's nothing wrong with it. But the energy, something about the small clubs that the John Mayer Trio record was recorded in, it just brought something that this version, which was recorded at the Nokia Theater, which is much larger, just didn't have for me. That's the nature of improvised guitar solos. Sometimes you strike on magic, and then sometimes it's just awesome. Coming in at number 8 for me on this list is I Don't Need No Doctor, again from the Where the Light Is album. Now, this is a song that was made famous by Ray Charles. There's been a ton of different versions of it. This is a really cool take on the song. I love what he did to the opening riff. The band sounds incredible on it. His vocal is really good. It's very polished on this recording. Albeit a live recording. Really cool. But again, it's kind of in that same vein where it didn't, as far as a cover song goes, it didn't really reinvent anything for me. And I'm not one of the people who says you always have to completely reinvent a song when you cover it. Sometimes songs are just good the way they are, and then you do your version of that. And there's enough uniqueness in it just being you doing it that it's good enough. Some of the songs, as you'll see later on in the list, become really cool because they are such a departure from the original version. And that's where things can get really interesting in the cover song world. But for this one, yeah, I think 8 is a good spot for it. Coming up next, we have another Jimi Hendrix song. Now, this one appears in 2 places. We have the Continuum version right now on my Spotify playlist that I created for all of these. And there's also the Where the Light Is version. So I've kind of combined the 2 of these. The Continuum version, when this album came out, it was actually kind of a surprise to me that he put a Jimi Hendrix song on there. But you have to remember, it was in that John Mayer Trio phase of his career, and the Hendrix thing was a big part of that. So as far as studio recordings of a Hendrix song go, I think they really captured what that trio does live with a Hendrix song, which is always really, really cool and with a ton of energy. And that's oftentimes very difficult to capture in a studio setting. My guess is for the studio version of Bold as Love, most of that was tracked live. I would be shocked if it wasn't. So I'm going to put this with the Where the Light Is version. They're very similar. They have a very similar energy. The solos are similar, and I think they can kind of operate as equals in this, and they both come in at number 7. The other thing that does for me is it keeps this at a nice even 10 songs, because before I had 11. Up next, we've got a song written by J.J. Cale, Call Me the Breeze. Now, this is on Paradise Valley, and I think what's really cool about this one is that it is faithful to a specific sound that J.J. Cale used to record his vocals. Listen to the vocal tone on this, and I think you'll hear what I'm talking about. It's a doubled vocal, and it's really cool. It works really well for John Mayer's voice, and this is an interesting take on that song. It's also a nice tribute to J.J. Cale. So for me, this comes in at 6 on the list. It's one of the more polished recordings we have on it. We have a lot of live recordings, which makes sense. He does a lot of different covers live. But I found the vocal tone really cool, and I think it's a nice tribute to J.J. Cale. Up next at number 5, Message in a Bottle. This is a song by The Police, written by Sting. This is from John Mayer's first live album, Any Given Thursday, very early in his career, and it's a solo acoustic performance that is really, really good. Really good. This gives you kind of a window into his coffee shop days, which is how he really started with his bass player, David LaBruyere. This is one of those things that John Mayer would do to garner some attention from people who were probably at a coffee shop in Georgia who didn't know who he was. So what do? You play a cover, and you do it really, really well. Well, at this point, he still brought that energy and that idea into his live show after becoming a major label artist with some hits under his belt. He was even doing that mid-show acoustic thing back then. That's where this song comes from. For those of you who are guitar players, I think you'll appreciate some of the right-hand technique on this song on the acoustic. And for me, solid number 5 on this list. Now, number 4 might be surprising. It's by far John Mayer's most popular cover, and that's Free Fallin', also from Where the Light Is. Now, this was his number 1 streamed song for a long time. It's been replaced recently by New Light, which was an awesome kind of resurgence for him when he dropped that single a few years ago. And I think a lot of you would probably rank this one as number 1. It's interesting because I'd like to know how many people actually became John Mayer fans because of this. It's a song that everybody knows. It's a song that everybody plays. And, you know, he kind of brought it back as far as energy. He did not go for the soaring Tom Petty vocal, which, by the way, is a really hard vocal to hit properly. He brought it back into where his voice is comfortable, and it's a much more relaxed, mellow version. When I perform, I do a version very similar to this, just because it's easier, to be honest, and it's a really cool vibe. So for me, though, this was not the top cover that he's put out officially. It's by all means the most popular, but it's not the top one because I think there are better things, and you'll see them coming up here on the list next. Next up, Inner City Blues, or Makes Me Wanna Holler. This is a Marvin Gaye song, and now we're getting into the territory of John Mayer taking a song and really going in a different direction from the original. Now, this is from the As Is live recording series, where they just took soundboard recordings, mixed, mastered them, and threw them up on the internet for people to listen to. This one features DJ Logic and a record scratch DJ solo, whatever you want to call it, in the middle of the song. It's a 7-minute long jam. David Ryan Harris's vocals are featured heavily on this, and it's a really cool take on the song. It's not a huge departure from how the original song sounds at the beginning, but where they take it in the sort of jam section of this is really cool. DJ Logic's addition is very interesting. At the time, he was an opening act on the tour that this was recorded from. So it's a collaboration that I think really speaks to John Mayer's ability and desire to exist in multiple different genres and explore performing with all types of different artists. Number 3 on my best John Mayer covers list is Inner City Blues. Now, number 2, we are back into the traditional blues type thing with the Robert Johnson song Crossroads. This has been done a million different times by a million different people, and there's some very iconic versions out there. But the version that appears on Battle Studies is one of the coolest things I have ever heard. Check out the guitar tone on this. This is a direction that I would have never, ever expected someone to take on the song. The recording itself is very dry, it's very tight sounding, and the guitar tone is something that is really unique and kind of unique to this era in John Mayer's playing. What a cool, minimal, stripped down version of this song, but wow, it has something about it that I just think is absolutely incredible and fascinating to me. Check it out. Maybe I'm wrong, but for me, this is the second best cover that John Mayer has released. That leads us to number 1, and that is John Mayer's cover of the Beyonce song XO. Now, for me, this is the coolest cover he has ever done. Admittedly, I'm not a huge Beyonce fan. I don't have any problem with her music. It's just not something that I've really gotten into. Maybe I will at some point. But what he did with this song is really, really cool. This came out, at the time when he was doing a lot more harmonica and acoustic guitar type things. And you hear that on this song. It's a studio recording, but it's a very minimal studio recording. There's a piano, a couple acoustics, the harmonica, and John Mayer's vocal on this is really, really cool. So the Beyonce version is really cool, also awesome, but a totally different song. And then you strip it back to this sort of acoustic troubadour kind of thing that John Mayer was doing much more of at the time, and you get what I would consider to be the best recorded cover that John Mayer has released. So there you have it. That's my list of the top 10 and the best John Mayer covers. Please put your version of this list in the comments below. Let me know where I am wrong. Let me know what I should have included and why my rules don't make any sense. And please also check out some of the previous ranking videos I've done for John Mayer's albums. Link those below. They'll be at the end of this video. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to my channel for more content just like this.